how would you market my property from pre-launch all the way up until selling? Welcome back to the Exclusive Mindset. I'm Ashley Holland with Holland PR, and I'm here today with Nick Malinosky, and we're going to go over your luxury playbook, how high net worth individuals should be selecting their real estate agents. So, Nick, I want to say you're the king.
Whoa.
I want to say you're the king. You are the king when it comes to working with very high net worth individuals. But a lot of that has to do with, confidentiality. I mean, I've been your publicist for I don't know how many years now, and we typically don't get any press on any of your sales. It's really about your market insight just because of how your clients are. So I want to get into this. What is your advice for high net worth individuals, and what should they look for when they are hiring or selecting an agent?
I think the first thing is, does that agent represent and work in the market that I have a property or I'd like to purchase in? So many times we see, an agent that's South Miami that brings a buyer up to Palm Beach, sells them a property, and maybe they missed 5 off markets that they had no clue even existed. I mean, that story I can tell a million times over. So I think, does that agent represent myself and my property well within the market, for multiple different reasons, but is it a good fit for my property? So I think a lot of times, for some reason, you see an agent who really shouldn't be working with a certain client spending a lot of money. And there are a lot of mistakes that can happen. I mean, you need to know who you're choosing that's an absolute expert within that market. So the first thing is an expert within the market.
Your client may have a $75 million property, right? And if you're a newer agent that doesn't have experience in marketing the property, that seller is not going to get their home sold. So what is it that they should be looking for in terms of, their strategy in marketing?
So as far as the seller goes, let's talk directly to the seller. So what that seller should do, and oftentimes it's, hey, I have a really good relationship with this person. They're not that experienced, but we're going to hire them. I rarely see it ever work out. It turns into a disaster, and then that friend that they had, they're no longer friends,
right?
Because they have to fire him because they didn't know what they were doing. So in that situation, if they really insist on having their friend or their agent they know represent their $75 million home, even though they shouldn't be doing it, as a seller, I would tell their friend, hey, go get the agent who really knows what they're doing and do it with them. At least have that agent team up with somebody and partner with someone that knows what they're doing. Because remember, it's $75 million. I mean, would you trust that person to allocate $75 million into the stock market for you? Probably not. So why would you give your $75 million listing to that agent?
So in terms of the price point, let's say you're a seller that's in the 20 million plus range. What should they look for in terms of years of experience with an agent, and why?
I would say, you got to have at least, I don't know, if I have a $20 million home, my agent's going to have 10 plus years of experience in that market. Bottom line. I mean, I want them to know everything. I want them to have made all their mistakes prior to coming to me. So I'm looking for 10 plus years, easy.
So on the opposite side of it, so if you are an agent that's fairly newer and you somehow scored a $20 million listing, your advice would be you need to partner with someone who has at least 10 to 15 years of experience.
I would say so. And it's an easy thing to do. I mean, if you work for one of the larger companies or a well-known company, there's usually somebody that you could partner with. I get it. Like, look, it's a $20 million listing. The commission's a big commission. In your mind, you can do it. Everybody does that, for their first time at some point, but just make sure you have the experience that goes behind it. Because, I think a lot of people look at these deals that transact and they just see the end result. The dynamics that go into these deals, it's incredible. I mean, yes, we have some ones that are pretty easy, but most of them are very complex, and you're dealing with multiple attorneys, sometimes architects, builders, multiple buyers. I mean, the dynamic can be very difficult. And if you don't know how to manage that situation, you could easily screw up the deal. Like, you know, you have to have done it. Experience is king.
Okay, so I'm going to make this fun. Let's say I am a seller that has a $50 million property. What should the agent be doing to market my property to get it sold?
So first of all, back to our point, experience, knowledgeable in the area, 10 plus years of experience. I would say, number one, what is the marketing budget? Meaning, where is this being marketed and how? That's the first question. Who am I dealing with? A lot of times you hire an agent, you never see him again, or her. Very common. You know, oh, I didn't tell you I go away for 6 months in the summer. Oh, I forgot to mention that. You know, I thought we'd sell it in 30 days. So who am I dealing with? If they have a team, meet the team. Understand who you're going to be working with. Who's in charge of the feedback? How do we learn? Like, who's the showing agent? A lot of times these teams will send an unqualified showing agent. So first of all, figure out who you're dealing with, then figure out, you know, what their marketing plan is and what their company is going to help them do as well. It's very simple. A seasoned agent will be able to tell you this in 2 seconds. But that's very important. Who am I working with and how are you marketing my property, where and when?
That's great. Why shouldn't you hire your friend to sell your $50 million property?
I mean, look, it's a very tricky situation. You know, obviously I work for many of my friends. If it's an unqualified friend, that's different than a very qualified friend. I mean, they're two totally different things. So yes, I work for friends and it's successful. But even when I'm working for a friend, I almost take the friendship out of it during that period of time. I want to keep it extremely business oriented. So I approach it from a total business standpoint. And I think a lot of times when friends hire friends, like I said, I've seen it 100 times over. It usually doesn't go well unless that friend can say, look, I'm here to do my job. I'm going to talk to you professionally, not, you know, as your friend, and really bring a level of professionalism to the deal. That's okay. But oftentimes, if that friend isn't 100% qualified, you could run into trouble.
Which, by the way, that is one of the hardest skills to master in business, is how to work with friends. 1,000%. If you cannot separate the friendship from business, it's going to fail and your friendship will be over. And if you don't have that skill mastered, it's better to not work with your friend.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
You know what I want to talk about is people don't know how much to put into a budget when you're marketing these properties. Do you have an idea of that in terms of dollars? Because agents want to know that.
It's a great question. So we don't have a percentage. A percentage might work a little bit for the newer agent, which you have to have a budget, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, you could easily spend, with the way things cost these days with marketing, you could easily spend even over your commission, on a $300,000 property or in that range. I think when it comes to super high-end luxury real estate, we don't have a budget per se. We're just doing so much already. It's part of our program, which you benefit from a luxury agent who's doing a lot of marketing. You're going to benefit from podcasts, social media, video, photography, email blast, our network. So I think over time, you build this monster that's a marketing machine, and you're spending, our group it's sort of a well-known thing, but we're spending probably $1.5 million a year, which is a lot of money. And that's kind of at cost.
Yeah, but it's your ROI.
Absolutely.
You guys are the #1 team in the state of Florida for medium-sized teams. A lot of people don't get that. And a lot of agents are very cheap.
Yeah.
Very, very cheap. And you have to spend money to make money, and you have to put it into the right streams of marketing in order to get your money back. So it's no surprise that you guys are the #1 team in the state of Florida.
But very well said. I think agents are, when you're taking a really high-end property and you're kind of I don't want to spend this here. Can I get this for a little less? Or let's talk to the video guy and shave $500. You're in the wrong game. We're no. Do it the best you can possibly do. We're going to do a podcast, get all the lighting and everything else. You have to, if you're playing at that level, you have to go for it. So if there's anything we can do, especially as a team, to market something, let's say it costs a $50,000 marketing initiative, no problem. If it's going to help sell it, let's do it. So that's what most agents don't understand. Once you get to this level, you got to be ready to spend some serious money on your business.
Yeah, and don't cheap out and trying to ask for discounts, because then you're going to get discounted work.
Well, and everyone talks about you just how cheap you are, you know?
Yeah, no one wants that.
No. So you got to go for it.
So as an ultra high net worth individual, what would be some red flags that they should be aware of when they're interviewing to hire their real estate agent?
You know, the reality is with these marketing plans and budgets and everything else, just because you're going to get an agent that's going to say, I'm going to do X, 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 and X, that's not the case. Like you have to have a full force plan, and it's a combination of about 1 million different things that have to come into play. So we like to do it all, but it also comes down to connections and who we know and who we're going to talk to. So it's 1 million other things that go into a marketing plan rather than just how much they're going to spend on their initial budget.
So you would say, like, when it comes to interviewing this agent, that they should probably ask for, I guess, like previous work on how they fully executed selling a house at that level, because, you know, the listing presentation is great and all, it's your way to win the listing, but you probably want to know, you know, proof. How did you get a listing at $30 million sold? And I want to see the entire marketing package that you put together, right?
Yeah, totally. Or, you know, fortunately, when you do get to that higher level, no one's asking you because, you know,
they know.
They've seen it 1 million times. I literally have clients that have told me, literally, they've gotten my postcards for 25 years. I said, 25 years? They said, yes. I said, I haven't been doing this for 25 years. So, I mean, we get that, you know, so it's like in the middle when you're grinding, you know, when that seller's asking those right questions, you know, the people who have done it and have proved it, they already know.
Yeah.
So
this is more for, like, obviously a newer agent that's trying to crack into the market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a wrap on the Luxury Playbook. Stay tuned for more tips on how to win the high-end market. If you like what you saw today, click the link and subscribe.